Each week, I'm joined by a top country star who gives me a hand counting down the hits. Along this week, it's Jelly Roll. I'd ask how you were, but I don't know how you do what you do.
Oh, stop.
You are the busiest man in show business.
Well, thank you. Honored, man. I take pride in that. I want to be the hardest worker in the room. It's something my daddy taught on me. It's a philosophy Dwayne Johnson taught me, and I live by it.
I mean, last October, new album, Beautifully Broken, came out. Just opened your bar, Good Night Nashville, here in town. And, of course, you have a top 5 with Liar right now. And I saw you on Saturday Night Live a while back.
Yes.
Holy cow.
It's been cool. It's been really good, Lon. It's everything. I sent an email to a friend recently, and I said, I don't necessarily love what the success has done to my personal relationships at times, but I love everything about what it's turned into as far as this is the exact busyness I prayed for when I was broken bored. Mm-hmm. Outside of, missing talking to friends sometimes, everything about this pace is perfect for me.
Really?
Everything I prayed for. Yeah, I hope it doesn't slow down anytime soon.
We'll talk a lot about that pace because along the way, too, we just had about 1,000 of our closest friends in town from country radio for a big convention.
Yes.
I would say, too, to tease it, you were the talk of the CRS, at least in the bar and the New Faces show after, with your session with Eric Church.
Legendary.
And we are going to get into all that as we get along with Jelly Roll. Right now, we'll get things started at number 30. This is Jackson Dean, Heavens to Betsy.
I love this song. Jackson Dean, Heavens to Betsy. I love this song.
This guy can sing, man.
This kid does.
Jackson Dean leading off the week's top 30 with Heavens to Betsy. We're counting them down with Jelly Roll. Of course, your current hit is Liar, way ahead in the top 5. Song that you actually debuted last year on the ACM Award Show.
Yeah, I was trying to catch that lightning in a bottle twice. We debuted and saved me at the ACM. Says the ACM's is coming up again. If y'all got something for you, call me.
But tell me about Liar. Just when you think you can't tell any more truth.
Yeah. There it is. I think that Liar for me was kind of the fight back against the voice in my head that sometimes wins. You know what I mean? It was almost like I'm finally standing up against that guy. Like, you're not telling me the truth. There's a scripture in the Bible, and I'll paraphrase it, that says pretty much that you know the things that come from me, you'll know they'll be for me because they'll be for your good. You know the things that aren't for me won't be for your good. You know what I mean? And I started realizing any voice in my head or any feeling in my body that's telling me I can't be great is a liar. That's not true. That's not what God designed me to be. That's why I started losing this weight. Any voice in my head that was telling me I was supposed to...
Kelsey Hart at number 28. That's Life with You. We're counting down the hits this week with my co-host Jelly Roll, and we talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. But there was a big radio convention here in Nashville recently.
Yeah.
The last session of a 3-day convention was supposed to be Eric Church interviewing you. You said something like, "You know what, man? Me and Eric are just going to sit here and talk like it's just him and me. Not going to worry about you guys."
Yeah.
And that's what we got.
That's what y'all got.
Yeah.
That was a real, they call it the conversation. And I feel like what Eric and I was able to do that afternoon was have a real conversation. Like, this is the conversation that we would have had I seen him backstage and we had 45 minutes to chat. These are the questions I would have brought. You know what I mean? It's like, this is how we interact with each other anyways. That what y'all got to see was a little insight into every time I've been with Eric. Kind of the mentorship and the friendship there. Like, he really believes in me, and you can tell that. And I really trust him.
Yeah, you could really see that. And it's funny because you mentioned something on stage that you told me a long time ago about seeing him at the Gorge in Washington State and pulling out your list of stuff. And that's kind of where he started, was with that performance at the Gorge.
And then he broke out his list. It was the funniest, the coolest thing ever, man. It was such a surreal moment for me. Yeah, the first time I met Eric Church, I truly brought a list of questions. I said, "Can I ask you a couple things?" He said, "Yeah," and I asked
A number 1 from Eric Church, that's Drink in My Hand. We're counting down the hits here with Jelly Roll, and we were just talking about this conversation that you had with Eric Church at the Country Radio Seminar. And I'm just curious, like, when you guys got off that stage, what'd you two guys say to each other?
He said, he gives me a hug. He was heading to catch a flight. He gives me a hug, and he was like, "Anything, anytime, Jay." And I was like, "I know that." And then, we're such good friends. I said, "Speaking of, let's go catch one of them Hornets games." I'm a huge basketball fan. And I texted Eric one day, and I was like, "Hey, man, I want to go see LaMelo play." And he texted me back and said, before I got rid of my phone, he said, I got the best seats in the house. LOL. And so I was hitting him. I was like, "Let's go." And we kind of, I don't want to talk too much, but we genuinely set up a date for us to go watch a game.
Oh, yeah? That's fabulous.
He knows I'm a fan. I think LaMelo Ball is special.
We are going to head back to 26. That's fall of summer. We're counting them down with my co-host Jelly Roll, and we were talking about the Country Radio Seminar here in Nashville recently, and your conversation with Eric Church as one of the sessions. But of course, that same week, you had a grand opening at your Music City establishment called Goodnight Nashville.
Yes, wasn't that cool? We went straight over to my bar after the Decades party, sung a few songs. It was considered our grand opening. We were open for a couple of months as a soft open. I don't understand. It's kind of like we announced that we're putting pre-sale tickets out, and then we have an on sale. It's the craziest model, but I get it. But
just go with it.
It was cool to do it for our friends and family. So it was like cool to go over there, and that was nothing but invite only. It was the first invite only show I've ever done, which was really cool.
It was, and I was honored to be invited.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we'll hang on to that for a minute because I do want to come back and talk some more about your Nashville bar. And back to the countdown at 25. It's Josh Ross at number 25, Single Again. We're counting them down with Jelly Roll, and we were just talking about your new establishment, Goodnight Nashville. And I had to think that you had a big hand in decorating that place, or somebody knows you really well. 4 floors, there's different places, XO Bunnies, Buddy's back room.
Yes.
Just a fun place. I like Buddy. It looks a little quiet place, maybe.
Cool, right?
I didn't get in there.
Oh, we got to bring you to Buddy's next time. If you ever need it, let me know. It's yours. How about that?
No, I was hoping to join it because it's like nice, quiet place.
No, that's what makes it so
XO
cool.
Bunnies.
Yeah. That's the club. It's the most popping club in Nashville right now. They cannot keep people out of it. My wife's got her own floor, her own bar at the club. And it's so unique to Broadway because it runs as a nightclub. They do like honky-tonk music in the afternoon, and then like as soon as that sun goes down, there's a DJ up there, and it's a party, and they got bottle services and sections, and it's like they've really created a culture down there, man. It's like what I'm proud of with that bar more than anything is one of the most I'm proud of, Lana, straight up, is being a Nashville native with his own bar. Like, to be the first Nashville kid born and raised with his name on a bar is really special to me. And I hope the town feels that way, like one of our own got a piece of our own kind of finally thing, you know? Mm-hmm. But the second thing I'm most proud of is that the culture they're building is beyond me. That place is packed every night because they play great music. The club has a great ambiance. Bunnies is where you were. It's got a good ambiance, high ceilings, open floors, section VIPs, nice bathroom, big open club style. You see the bottle.
Up next is Kelsey Ballerini, and you wanted to talk about her?
Yeah, I love Noah, and I love Kelsey, man. Cowboys Cry too. I think Kelsey is just such a strong writer. And I love that Kelsey is Kelsey. Like, I love artists who have their own identity. Like, what makes Lainey great is how distinguishingly Lainey is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Kelsey has that same charm. You know what I mean? And she's also just one of the greatest humans I've ever had the privilege of hanging out with. Her boyfriend, Chase, is just awesome guy. And then you put Noah in the mix. There's just too much good music, too many good people in that not to want to see that song just rock it all the way.
It is indeed. Talking about Kelsey Ballerini, along with Noah Khan at number 22, Cowboys Cry 2. Morgan Wallen jumping up 10 to number 20. I'm the Problem. Jelly Roll is my co-host this week, and got to talk about Lainey Wilson, of course.
First of all, I'd be remiss if we talked about Lainey Wilson one more second and didn't congratulate her and Duck.
Yes.
It's just really cool for them. Me and my wife were literally talking about how happy we are for Lainey and Duck in our bed last night. That's how recently we talked about how happy for Lainey and Duck we are.
She was in here just about a week before it was announced, but we had such a fun conversation because we talked about her playing that Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game and that you were kind of the surprise guest down there. Well, this is one of my favorite clips of all time.
This is how Jelly does stuff. He don't need to get there early. He has to get there on time. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, where is Jelly? And he gets there like right before, and I'm like, he somehow always pulls it off. I wish I could do that.
Was he at Bridgestone here?
He was at Bridgestone the night before.
Right. Does he do that all the time? Kind of show up like
Jelly rolls right on in.
Does he?
By the hair of his chin.
That's so true. No, she was awesome. Her bringing me as her guest. Let me tell you my best part of the Dallas Cowboys experience with her was. I'm there, and of course, because I showed up on time and not early, I didn't have any reference before the game started how I was going to get to the stage. I had no clue what I was walking into. And she goes, hey, just look, is this platform behind me? They're going to pull you up on it, and then you'll pop out. What I didn't know was happening was, though, that you could see this platform from a certain angle and that I was supposed to be crouched. And I wasn't. So I'm just like halfway through her song, you would look and you just see my shadow kind of far behind her. She was joking. She said, all I see was your big butt trying to hide. She said...
My co-host Jelly Roll, along with Lainey Wilson, they're number one. That's Save Me. Going to get back to the countdown here, Jelly. And up next is Kane Brown. And when he was in here as my co-host, we were talking about a song on his album that he does with you.
I have a song called Haunted on this album with Jelly Roll. And it's like what I go through, because I go through depression. So it shows like the vulnerable side of depression with me to the first verse. And then Jelly comes in and it goes to like the hard depression, like the mad depression. And then we come in together and it's like one cohesive thing. It's really cool.
Wow. Did you talk to Jelly Roll much?
Oh, yeah. We talk all the time. We play Call of Duty together, and then he'll just randomly FaceTime me. He changed my name in his phone to Stadium Kane. He'll just get a random FaceTime at 3 in the morning.
Stadium Kane, dude. When I see him play that first Stadium, I was like, Bubba, it's Stadium Kane from now on. I was like, you got it, dog. I love Kane, man. I love that Kane Brown was willing to be this vulnerable on this song. Kane is, he's a quiet kid because he came from absolutely nothing, has had struggles, and I won't tell his story for him, but I mean, if you know, it's like him making it to where he's at is about as crazy a story as me making it where I'm at. I'll do anything Kane wants to do, whether he wants to shoot basketball and play Call of Duty anyways. Kane's just my Bubba.
Once again, at number 18 with Coming Home. Jelly Roll is my co-host this week. Hey, up next is Jason Aldean. And when he was in as my co-host, he was telling me about this all-star, amazing, epic beer pong game that included you.
That was after the ACMs. I think we were all kind of looking for something to get into, and backstage we're like, hey, what are you guys doing after the show? And, you kind of start asking around. And so I guess, Jelly was going to try and throw a party. They found a bar, shut the bar down, and we all went in there. And by the time I showed up, Post was already in there trying to find a beer pong table. And him and Kane were trying to wager some money on the game. And then somehow I got suckered into playing with him. And so it ended up being an epic night. It was fun. And, it was the pictures are exactly how it happened. We basically ended up going in and taking over this bar and having a beer pong tournament right in the middle of the whole bar.
That is exactly what happened, Jason. I love you, Aldean. Dude, it was a legendary night. Man, I hate to circle back to my bar that we talked about, but it's similar to like what Buddies means to me, like finding places that we can go. Artists don't get the chance to just do that very much.
Right.
So I thought, man, we should just go take over a bar. And when I pitched it, everybody's like, we're in. So we found a bar to take over. And we went in and just took over some like most random, you never expected kind of bar. And there is a little bit of legend to that with us anyways. Like that's kind of what we do. If you've ever been around, that's what we're a little bit known for behind the scenes is we corner places off and hell of fun.
Fun does follow you. I will say that. Or lead you. I'm not sure which.
The best part was watching Aldean get like, and when he said he got suckered into it, I mean, you could tell Post all but just grabbed him. Was like, come on, you're my guy. And Jason was like,
well, I think Jason did mention that he's not quite the beer pong player that Post and Kane are.
Neither was I, so it was even.
Jelly Roll, and we were talking about Country Radio Seminar a lot earlier. More than 1,000 country radio programmers in from around the USA, and of course it ends with the New Faces show, where some of the brightest stars of the past year, the brightest new stars of the past year, play for everybody. And performing that night was this next guy in the countdown, Drew Baldridge.
I think Tough People is such a good song. It reminds me, and I hate to always be the dude that compares stuff. Comparison is the thief of joy. But it reminds me of the Craig Morgan songs that made me love Craig Morgan. It reminds me of This Ain't Nothing. It reminds me of Almost Home. It's that old school storytelling country that's not telling a poetic story. It's telling a very direct one. You know what I mean? Like, does it not make you choke up a little bit when he goes, she fought like hell until she rang that bell in Memphis? It makes me get emotional just repeating the line.
And that night, when Drew sang Tough People, he brought out Kids from St. Jude.
From St. Jude.
And that was like, whoa. I'm getting goosebumps now. Dude, thinking about it.
Yeah, y'all can't hear it, but Lon and I are both here teary-eyed. But it's like, to me, that's the country music I love. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of country music, these stories of the broken, like the imagery of this little girl ringing a bell in Memphis. You know, like...
And Drew Baldridge is at 16, Tough People.
A tornado tore through me.
You told me something that I guess kind of surprised me, and that's that you don't have a phone.
Yes.
Is that what do you mean you don't have a phone? Is that a temporary situation?
No, I do. We thought it was going to be temporary, but 4 months into it, I don't know if I'll ever have a phone again.
Really?
I can tell you, man, I've never felt more present. I've never felt more aware. I've never felt happier, healthier, mentally, emotionally. Even days I have a laptop now, and there are days, and it's cool because you're a lot more, you don't have access to it all the time, so when you pick it up, you're very purposeful. So that kind of changed everything, man.
Yeah, wow.
I've just made a lot of changes. I always said when I came into country music, I bet you can pull a clip of me saying this on the show at one point, that the man changed, I just brought the music with him, you know?
Yeah.
The man's changing again. You know, the man's changing again. So there's a lot of things that are just kind of getting drugged with him, you know?
Yeah, not sure how you survive without a phone. We are going to get back to the countdown here at 14. It's Megan Maroney. Countdown belongs to someone that you wanted to talk about, Zach Top.
Zach Top. I was talking about him today. I think we are watching the beginning of what is going to be a 20-year run for Zach Top. Like, I think that's who Zach Top is to the genre right now and who he's going to be. I don't think he's got one of those voices that we look up in 2026 or 27 and go, I wonder whatever happened to Zach. He had that one record that really kind of moved us that one time. No, I think this kid's fixing to have Morgan Wallen fire in the next 5 to 10 years.
Randy Travis moved a generation to more traditional and more storytelling. I think Zach has that.
For sure.
You think he's going to move that needle, that pendulum back a little bit?
100%. He's bringing a traditional, soulful country sound. He's honest with it. He's just a great guy, man. I am overly cheering for Zach Top. And I tell you who else is Post Malone. And we are Zach Top stans. Me and Post Malone singing all the Zach Top songs like little stans of little super fans of Zach Top. He don't even know. Zach has no clue how. I hope you play this for him and he finds out how big of a fan of him. I see him all the time and tell him I love him, but I don't know if he knows how much I actually love him.
And of course, the guy we're talking about is my co-host this week, and you wanted to talk about Blake and the song?
Oh, dude. This Blake Shelton, Texas song, to me, reminds me of like what made me love that era of country music. Like the whole Blake era was like that. She's probably in Texas. It's just got a swag to it. It's just so Blake Shelton. I think it's like my pre-party song right now. This Blake
Right?
Shelton song is the jam.
Yeah. And of course, talking about Blake Shelton at number 10. Cole Swindell up 1 to number 9, Forever to Me. Jelly Roll is my countdown co-host this week, and through the show we've been talking about this country radio convention that was here in Nashville last week, and your label group had a decades party with songs, and everybody, picked a song. Tell me about the song you picked and why you picked it.
Oh, I sung Friends in Low Places.
Right.
So I come out, the whole label sings it. It was awesome, dude. It was already a party.
It was so great. It was just fun.
It's just
a lot of people dressed up.
A lot of people dressed up. They just it was cool, man, that they let me close it. I love that song. We cover it a lot anyway. So when Loba and them hit me, I was like, yo. But the coolest part was having the whole label.
Cash again at number 7 with Hometown Home. We're counting down the hits here with Jelly Roll, and your name came up a while back when I was talking to Cole Wetzel. He was telling me that you were in a bar that he owns down in Fort Worth, Texas.
I talked to Jelly. I was like, man, you didn't think to call me, or I wasn't in town, obviously, but he said, man, me and Post crawled out of there about 2:15 this morning. So we kind of hurting today. I said, well, good. Welcome to Texas, baby. No, they had a good time. I was just glad nobody went to jail that night, honestly.
I love you, Co. Oh, dude, Co, man. First of all, one of my first real friends in country music, man, me and Co Wetzel, we got a long history, toured together a couple times. Man, that's my bubba. And boy, I was hurting. If you ever go down to Fort Worth or Dallas, down about Fort Worth, Texas, dude, you swing by Co Wetzel's riot room, and that place is a riot room. I tell y'all, man, it was, we were stumbling out of there. I'm glad we didn't go to jail neither. Another true to Jelly Roll and Post Malone legacy. We love country music. So when we hang out, we go find places that we can get to play nothing but country music. And Co Wetzel Bar was easy for that. So we turned everywhere we go into a honky tonk. And lucky for us, Co already had a honky tonk down there. So we had just left Billy Bob's.
That made it pretty easy.
Yeah, we had just left Billy Bob's. I texted Cody the next morning, and he cussed him out. I said, I hate your bar. He said, why? I said, because I'm hurting, Co. I'm hurting. He said. I also didn't want to hit him up on the way. I was going to.
Cole Wetzel and Jesse Murph with the number one from a few months ago. That's High Road. We're counting down here with Jelly Roll as we get back to this week's chart. You want to talk about the next guy, Cody Johnson.
Cody Johnson is probably my best friend in the music business. And he is the kind of guy that you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning and lay the real stuff on. And he'll answer and entertain you and hear you out and give you feedback and get vulnerable with you. He's that guy. He's the guy that people. The fun thing about our friendship is, we joke about it all the time, is that people will never really fully understand it. We don't think until later. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But hours and hours of real conversations, real foxhole stuff, just really spending time together. You know, we're like, and it's become such a good friendship now. My wife jokes, as soon as we pull up to award shows or anywhere Cody's going to be, she just looks up like a puppy waiting on his owner. I'm looking around like, I wonder where Kojo's at. You know, we're just like, I'm immediately looking for Cody Johnson because we talk so much. I just want to hug him, man. He's a genuine dude. He's a great father. He's a great husband. He leads by example.
Once again, at number 5, guy for that. We're counting down the hits here with Jelly Roll. And hey, before we leave Post, it was just announced, I guess a few weeks ago now, stadium tour. You, Post Malone, and Europe.
Yes, sir.
That's a long time in Europe, if I recall.
Quite a bit of like 20 shows in Europe or something. It's big. It's a lot of shows. It's really cool.
How'd that all come together?
But here's the funny part of this story, Lon. I didn't plan on touring America this year at all. I planned on taking America off this year because I thought, I did 63 arenas last year.
Right.
On top of 30 fairs and festivals. I did 90 ticketed shows in America. Sold over 1.something million tickets. It was crazy. It was an unbelievable year. And I was like, hey, man, I don't want people to get sick of seeing me, you know? I was like, unless something happens that we could open up for somebody at a stadium level, and you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to go out and just put
My co-host Jelly Roll once again at number 2 with Liar. A bit ago we were talking about writing this song and just how personal it is to you. This almost to me is the essence of your message about that if I can do this, you can do this.
Yes.
You know, and listen to that voice.
Listen, man. Listen to the voice that tells you can, because the voice that tells you can't is a liar. The devil is a liar. And I love the songs, like you said, it's got an attitude to it. It's fighting back in a way that's like, it's empowering. A lot of my songs have dealt with the core of the emotion of a feeling, but never the empowerment of the feeling after that. You know what I mean? And this was cool.
And that's why it was so perfect, the way you did the video.
Thank you.
Again, it embodied that very notion.
Yep.
Talking to yourself.
That's it.
In the mirror.
It's like, no more, brother. And even from now, look at that video today. I look like a whole different guy in the mirror. The man's changing again, Lon. The man's changing again, baby. Can't wait to see what I do next, boy. Every time God's had a big change for me, it's been fun.
Yeah, and of course, we're talking about the video for Liar, which is at number 2 from my countdown co-host Jelly Roll. As we move on to the number 1 song in the USA, it's by somebody we talked about a bit earlier, Lainey Wilson.
And a 4x4 by you, babe.
And Ford commercials now. And there they are, the top 30 country hits in the USA as compiled by Country Air Check. We've been counting them down here with Jelly Roll, and man, there is just so much going on with you. And we only kind of scratched the surface. How do you feel about coming back next week?
I would come back anytime for anything. You let me know, baby.
We're in.
I'm in.
Current hit is Liar from the new album, Beautifully Broken. Best luck with that. And man, thanks for helping me count down the hits this week, and we'll see you next week.
Why, thank you.